When you think of gaming on the go, you're usually going to think about things like the Steam Deck, the Legion Go, the Ally X, or one of the many retro handheld devices. What if I told you that you can play everything on this? Over the last few months, I have been using my iPhone 13 Pro on a controller as my primary gaming device. I've been using it for cloud gaming. I've been using it for local streaming. I've been using it for emulation and basically playing all of my games only on my phone. So first I want to cover local streaming. This to me has been the biggest game changer, but it does have some requirements. So I've been streaming from my gaming PC onto this, and that's why I can play a lot of the games that I can. I've also been streaming locally from my Xbox. So I've been using the Xbox Remote Play. And the nice thing about local streaming is it doesn't really rely on your internet connection because you're just transferring internally in your house. So you really just need your router. So first I want to start with Moonlight and Artemis. Artemis is the client that you install on your computer, and Moonlight you can install on your phone. And it basically works like a virtual desktop. And from my desktop, I installed an app called Playnite. And I followed the video that I put in the description to help you set it up on your phone and computer as well. But this gives my PC a very console-like experience, and it puts all the games that I want to play in one area. For Moonlight and Artemis, the streaming is so good that it feels like there is no latency at all. It really does feel like I'm playing this natively on my phone, which is the number one reason why I wanted to make this video. Second, I've been using Xbox Remote Play as well. I do have an Xbox, so I've been using an app called OneCast, which is better than the xCloud app or the Xbox Remote app. And it's been giving me a very solid experience to play some of the games that just aren't available on PC, but are available on console, such as UFC 5. And then the last option for the PC streaming is Steam Link. Steam does have a remote desktop type experience built right into it, but you can really only access your Steam games, and the performance isn't quite as good as Moonlight and Artemis, but it is a lot easier to set up. So on my phone, I have the Moonlight app, and make that Apollo on my computer. So Moonlight. And this is what the Moonlight looks like. I'm going to record this as well. So essentially in the Moonlight interface, you can actually, from your computer, add different apps to stream. So in this particular case, I have Playnite, which is kind of like Steam. It's just a front end. It's a library for all your games, just so that way you can access them from any place. You can also just have it open right into a Steam big picture mode. And then what I usually use is just the virtual desktop. So when I click into this, it'll open just a straight up virtual desktop. But first we'll go into the settings. So in the settings, you actually have quite a few options. You have resolution. You can actually update the frame rate, your bit rate as well. So if you're finding that you're getting any stuttering or the visuals look a little off, you can lower that or add to it depending on which case. It just gives you a ton of different options in here. And then we can actually dive right into the virtual desktop. So what this will do is this is connecting to my computer. And right now I'm actually editing this video, so you can see that. And it actually works as like a desktop as well. So lets me use my mouse as a trackpad, and then I can open up, any game that I actually want to play. So in this case, I can just pick, like I have Dragon's Dogma 2, or any of the other games here. And the performance is seamless, and it is really handy to be able to access your actual library, as well as your desktop anywhere in your house. So let's dive into an actual game here, just that way we can see what it looks like. So I've been playing the Guild Wars Reforged lately, so we can go into that. This is obviously a lightweight game, so it'll definitely be very easy to access, but we'll take a look at what it actually feels like in terms of latency, because that's really what's going to matter. Basically, you can play any game that your PC can handle. It's just a matter of, you know, how it works in terms of latency. And I mean, it is so smooth. Consistently, you get a great experience. I find this just the best way to play games and on my phone, essentially. So I have absolutely no issue with moving around. Everything just feels instantaneous. Feels extremely responsive. It really does feel like I'm just playing the game on my phone. And I find this to be the best option for really any game. And it also does a good job of filling like a good portion of the screen. And then if you ever need to exit out of the app, you can just back swipe there. This also works for Android as well. Yeah, so the next one that I wanted to cover is Amazon Luna. This one actually surprised me. So if you happen to have an Amazon Prime subscription, which I think most people do, you actually have access to this library of games. The Luna standard library is actually quite good, and the performance is great as well. So games like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, or Hogwarts Legacy, there's Dead Island. A lot of my favorites here, these are all just included with your Amazon Prime membership. Let's go into Kingdom Come Deliverance. Why not? This one as well, like for cloud gaming, it feels very responsive. Everything actually feels quite solid. Let's see if I can fight this guy. I don't really know how to play this game very well, so it's a learning experience. Okay, so I can just hit him. No. But it looks like I'm getting like a nice solid, just straight up 60 frames per second in 1080, which is fine for this small screen. Like, it looks quite good. And once again, there isn't really any detectable latency, maybe like the smallest fraction, but for a game like this, a lot of RPGs, like same with Hogwarts Legacy, like this would be totally fine. And just the fact that you can play it on your phone is just excellent. Now I also wanted to talk a little bit about this app called Delta, which isn't streaming, it's just emulating games on your phone. So you can emulate NES, N64, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, and Nintendo DS. So I find this is just a nice app to have for your day-to-day. This is a really easy one to pull out, and you don't need a controller for it. So if I disconnect the controller, it's actually going to give you this nice Game Boy-like interface. And I can just play Pokemon right on my phone. And if I want to play the horizontal way as well, I can just use the touch controls here. And then of course, you know, it is going to work with this controller as well. So if I want to pull this out and rip a little Pokemon or any of the other games that I can emulate, then this is how I do it. Alright, so I just want to say thank you for watching. That is all I really had, and I hope that this actually shows you how to play games using your phone. And I hope that it helps someone out there, and I hope it was entertaining. If there are any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments. Otherwise, if you could, it'd be great if you could hit that like button. Thanks so much, and we'll see you again.